Good morning. My name is Eli Fagerstrom. Today, we will present to you the United Arab Emirates and doing business in that country. With me today is Barrett Barger, Leah Siansi, and Omar Ahmed. I am covering infrastructure of the Emirates. Mr. Barger will be covering the culture. Leah will be covering the economy, and Omar will also be covering the culture. We are all ambassadors for the United Arab Emirates. Moving on to my first point, again, my name is Eli. I will be covering infrastructure of the Emirates. I am an infrastructure consultant for the Emirates. I've been doing that for about 10 years. I have 3 points that I want to cover today. First, ports. Secondly, I want to cover public transportation. And finally, I want to cover exhibition centers. So my first point of ports. The Emirates has 9 seaports, and it is the world's 3rd largest re-export market. It handles about half of all the containers in the region, and currently there's $30 billion US going towards port projects in the region. That is according to The National, which is, of course, a national newspaper. On to my second point, public transportation. This refers to roads, rails, and any way people get around. Firstly, you have to be 18 years or older in the Emirates to have a driving license. However, a fun fact, the Emirates is one of 17 countries in the world with 100% of their roads that are paved. It's pretty interesting. It just shows you they invest a lot of money into their roads and roadways. They're ranked number 1 regionally and 11th globally for their availability and quality of transport infrastructure. Something to expect in the future, the Emirates expects a lot coming from rails. That's why there's currently $22.5 billion US being invested into rail projects from basically 4 big private sectors. That again is according to the national newspaper. Finally, my third point, exhibition centers. Exhibition centers are big conference centers. Millions of people come to these centers in the Emirates, and it's a gathering place for wealthy investors to come and talk about common interests, and so they can invest and promote and share that common interest with others. The smart thing about building these exhibition centers in the Emirates is because the infrastructure is already there. It's a well-built country, at least in the cities. The desert is less developed just because it's a desert. But putting these exhibition centers in an already developed area is smart because it brings even more wealth to the region. So to wrap up my portion, I covered infrastructure of the Emirates, talking about ports, transportation, and these exhibition centers. Next is Barrett.
As Eli stated, my name is Barrett. I have a BA in sociology from Harvard University. Also 10 years under my belt, studying cultures in various countries around the world. There's a great model, it's called the Hofstede model, that encompasses all the core values of the country in a quantitative manner from 0 to 100. The first one is power distance. There's great inequality between social classes in the UAE, and it's more of a hierarchy type system, so progressing your way up is very difficult. Also, a great boss is considered a benevolent autocrat, which is basically a dictatorship, and subordinates want to just be told what to do. Individuality have a low score because they like group work. They like building each other up and not worrying just about themselves. And in fact, the US has a 91, and I think we all agree on that because it's all about our reputation right now and only about us. Next we have the masculinity or femininity, and the higher you up, it's a masculine country, and that means you're competitive, do whatever it takes to win, get the job done. Or if it's on the lower level, it's feminine, and that's care for others, not as much care for material things, and it's pretty incredible that they have such a low rating in the feminine side, because if you've seen Dubai, it's one of the most lavish cities in the world. And you get driven around in Maybachs, and the high rises are incredible. So it says a lot about their country that they're staying grounded and they care about other people. Next is the uncertainty avoidance. They have really high because they're very risk averse. They don't take chances, and that's why they have very strict rules, policies, laws, keep everyone in line. This is a problem because it prohibits innovation, so you just have to do what you're told, basically. Business culture. It's a very cosmopolitan type deal. A lot of cultures coming in and doing business on a day-to-day basis. And there's three main parts to business etiquette. It's manners, relationships, and hospitality. Manners, it's pretty simple. It's important in every culture today. It's considered a prized attribute, and according to Jenny Southern of the Business Traveler, it's very important before meeting your client to know their name, because if you get it, they'll lose interest very quickly and you'll lose the deal. Relationships. UAE and Iraq says business in the UAE is founded upon mutual friendships and trust and loyalty. And basically, if you have that, you give favors to each other and they reciprocate. So they're very in tune with other people's needs and wants, and they will help you out if you need it. Also, hospitality. They're incredibly hospitable in the UAE and they'll do whatever it takes to make you feel welcome. So most business meetings are done in hotel lobbies or restaurants. So one, you prove to them that you're willing to make deals, so you come to them. And two, to give you more choices on whether to eat or drink, so you don't have to be limited to what they offer at their homes. And on that note, I've talked about general culture, the business culture and business etiquette, and some tips to succeed and thrive in the country. And doing business on a cultural aspect is pretty much all up to preference. If you like strict rules, community work, group work, I think the UAE is for you. If you like being an individual, rising on yourself, going through the rankings, I think doing it in the US is fine. Saying that, I'd like to hand it over to Leah.
Good morning, everyone. As Eli stated, my name is Leah Cianci. I have a degree in economics and have been studying the UAE for quite some time now. So today I'm going to tell you why doing business with the UAE is a good idea on an economic standpoint by telling you about the overall economics of the country, the tourist attractions, and because of their exports. So first I'm going to go ahead and talk about the overall economics. According to the CIA fact book, the UAE has an open economy with a high per capita income and a sizable annual trade surplus. Effective economic diversification has reduced GDP based on the oil and gas output to 25%. About 30 years ago, the discovery of oil changed the UAE from a very small desert, kind of impoverished country to a very high standard of living place. According to Heritage.org, the UAE scored a 71.1% on the economic freedom scale. This makes it the 28th freest economic country in the world and the third in its region. So next I wanted to tell y'all some about the quick facts that you should know. The population is 5.4 million. The inflation is 0.9%. Public debt is 19.9% of the GDP. And as you can tell, the GDP all is down here with the 25.8 billion. This is a 4.9 growth and a 2.8% 5-year compound annual growth with a 48,158 per capita income. So because of these great standings are based on my next 2 points, and I'm going to go ahead and move into tourism and hospitality. According to the UAE Embassy, the UAE has become a regional and global leader in the tourism and hospitality sector. This has greatly contributed to the overall economy of the country. The reason why it is so highly ranked is because they have attractions that nowhere else in the world offers. Examples of this would be places like Ferrari World, which is basically a Disney World for Ferrari lovers. Everything Ferrari, as you can imagine, very expensive. They also offer lots of different hotels, such as the Atlantis. This is the world's only underwater hotel. And if you want to go spend a night, it's only going to cost you about $20,000. So as you can imagine, these ridiculous prices and these unique places definitely contribute to the economy. Next, I want to talk to you about the imports and exports. As you can see, they import lots of stuff such as diamonds and jewelries, lots of things that you would expect for a high-class country. And as you can tell, the exports are all petroleum oils, refined and crude, and lots of other petroleum gases. So according to the embassy, oil is the major export. And from these numbers, you can see how many barrels in each region that they ship out. And this makes it the 6th largest reserve, the 5th largest national gas reserve, and the 3rd largest exporter of crude oil. Although they are exporting so much oil, very little of it is actually going to the United States, which makes it a very good reason for us to start doing more business with them. So I talked to you a little bit about why we should do business with the UAE because of the imports and exports and because of the tourism and investment opportunities it offers. So in conclusion, Eli told us a little bit about the infrastructure by talking to us about transportation. Barrett talked to us about the culture by taking us through the business culture and the etiquette, and I talked to y'all about the economy by telling you about the tourism attractions and because of the imports and exports. So in conclusion, we feel that doing business with the UAE is a good idea because it will benefit both our country and their country. Thank you, and I will take any questions now.